What's up, my fellow vapors? Today we are doing something a little different. We are doing a 6-month update on the Puffco Proxy. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with this device over time. Because I had the Pro, when I first got it, it was like, is the Proxy better? Is the Pro better? And it ends up that they're just different. And I wanted to do a little bit of an update because I learned some things about the Proxy, and as you can see here, I ended up with a lot of accessories to just kind of explore what was the best way to make this the best. And it happened. It took a little bit of experimentation, but it happened. So let's just start going over some of the stuff you see here. This one's easy. Puffco hot knife. You know, I would say a must-have for Puffco devices. The reason why I really like the hot knife over other ones is because of the skinniness of it. When you put it inside of a dab jar, it doesn't get all dirty, where the thicker 510 ones, they're just too wide, and in the container it hits the sides and is all weird. So then this is the standard Oculus cap that comes with it. Then the ball cap. The Pro ball cap is where I started. This is one of the first accessories I got, and it definitely made the experience better, but I knew we could get better. Then moving on, after that, I started using a standard bubble cap I had from Pulse and Pieces with my Tuff Tethers. I want to take a quick second to just give a huge shout out to Tuff Tethers. I got the cool opportunity to meet him at PuffCon. Not only is he a really cool guy, his products are super quality. This is his just standard Tuff tether that he makes for the Proxy and the Puffco Peak. This is his ball cap one with a really tiny elastic on this side and his frayed. And then this is another Tuff Tethers product called the Hotline, which is really fun for the Proxy to put around your neck, especially if I'm out at a dog walk, or I've actually snuck this into concerts and just worn it around my neck. For now, I'm going to pop these off. Just set them to the side. Then we move on to more objects out of the travel pack, which is this little base. It's like a foot, it just slides on the end, and also has a little backpack for some Q-tips and a silicone mouthpiece. I would say that the travel pack is almost an essential. Having the silicone mouthpiece is really nice because I have a bad habit of actually holding this in my mouth. So with the glass, that felt super sketch. With the mouthpiece, this actually doesn't feel that bad to hold it in your mouth, because I'm usually like multitasking or doing other stuff when I use the Proxy. I ended up cutting off the Oculus. I had another Oculus carb cap that comes with it, and I just cut that off because I use my bubble cap, or now my one trick pony Proculus cap. This really set the Proxy off. When I used the Pro ball cap and the Oculus cap, I was like, okay, you know, yeah, it's like a smaller Peak Pro. It does a little bit of smaller dabs, and you kind of had to do a gentle inhale to really not get that stuff up and over the edge. Once I switched to the one trick pony Roculus cap, man, I could inhale harder, and it really just made the device chuck clouds. And I have a big feeling it's due to be, and I have a big feeling because if you look at where this drops the air path to, like way down here, so when it sits, it actually helps keep the material lower in the bucket. A note on the one trick pony Proculus cap is, yeah, okay, so it is a little pricey, like $100 or so for this style. So when I first saw that, I took a moment. I was like, man, do I really need $100 object to make this already $300 device better? And then I saw these little fake one trick pony style carb cap thing that is actually meant to fit in the Oculus carb cap, and you have to like line up where this hole is with this hole, and then if it pushes too far down, it doesn't really work. And so when it's in your bag and stuff, this pushes down a little bit and it doesn't really, it like cuts off the airflow. And if this isn't aligned perfectly, it doesn't really spin right. Now, I will say this is 20 bucks. Honestly, at this moment, I'm feeling this wasn't worth the 20 bucks. And I should have just skipped that altogether and gone straight for the One Trick Pony Proculus cap. This was probably the best upgrade I got for the Proxy. Then lastly is this little tiny piece of glass here. This Terp Pearl spinner was another thing that just really changed the experience and made the Proxy chuck clouds. Oh, if I didn't mention that earlier, that's where this pearl came from, is TacoDabs on Instagram. Another really super cool guy, makes great quality glass stuff. When I first got the Proxy, I did experiment just with normal Terp pearls, and I can't say I was a fan, especially because of the Oculus cap, the way that this sits on top in there. The air path is so high that the pearls spin so far up in the bucket once they get spinning real good that a lot of material gets pushed up and over into those holes. And I wasn't a big fan. The whole goal with this thing has been trying to minimize the amount of overflow in the device, because it gets real dirty and then it leaks out this hole, and under here it gets real gunky in there. Overflowing the device was a huge issue in this over the time because it would get so dirty. With this Proculus cap and this little spinner, it's amazing, because what happens is that it closes down the area inside of the chamber, and these sit a lot closer together, keeping your material down. And the way this little pearl works is like a turbine, and it spins, keeping the material off to the walls and down, meaning it'll stay where the heat coils are and really, really chuck clouds. The last little accessory that I've had a lot of fun with is something I got on Amazon. It's this little jar that I filled with ISO, and it comes with a little plastic plug to stay more leak proof. I take this on the go with me to put the Terp Pearl in. That's the one thing I will say that is, I don't want to say a negative about this Terp Pearl, because it's like anything. If it requires a little bit of extra work, it's probably because it's pretty freaking good. So you can't, with this Terp Pearl, you can't really just swab it out because of the size of the chamber. Whereas like a normal small Terp Pearl, you can just swab it out and not really have to take it out and ISO it every time. With this Terp Pearl, you pretty much have to take it out and ISO it. But again, with any quality thing, you want to take care of it. You want to keep that clean. And yeah, that is the accessories for the Proxy. The other little things that I've learned in the last 6 months is a note on pass-through charging. Okay, so this does technically, as advertised, have pass-through charging. To me, true pass-through charging is when it's plugged in and I use the device, it's still charging. But with the Proxy, what it's doing is it cuts off the charging, heats the device. When the device stops heating, it turns the charging back on. So if you run out of battery, you can plug it in and maybe get one more cycle. But you can't use this just plugged in and have it stay charged up. It is technically using up the charge. So it doesn't, even though it can be operated plugged in, it's not really a desktop plugged in device when you leave it on your desk all day, if that makes sense. So pass-through charging, yeah, kind of. It does work when it's plugged in. You don't have to unplug it to run it and then plug it back in like some older dab or vape devices, which is kind of cool, but also not really true pass-through charging. All right, and then the other little fun things I learned in the last 6 months is Easter egg mode. So when you switch it to white, you'll do the standard double click to start white. It'll heat up. Then you're gonna go click the button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see that it has this more pastel-y rainbow color, and that's Easter egg mode. So now we're north 600 and I think 50 degrees for that one. So if you like those really hot, high temp, hurt your lung type dabs, Easter egg mode, that's for you. To stop a dab, you can just push and hold the button until the light turns off, and that stops it mid-session. But the device is still on. One click, you can tell it shows the heat. To turn the device off, what you're gonna wanna do is push and hold the button, and it'll flash white, vibrate, and now pushing the button does nothing. To turn it back on, push and hold, It'll flash white, vibrate. Now the device is on. A single click, as a lot of you know already from the last video, cycles through the colors. And then just another fun one, if you're on just a standard heat up, double click, you see it start pulsing like it's heating up. And you're just looking to have a little bit of vibe, little bit of extra fun, you can do a triple click on any color, 1, 2, 3. And that does a more RGB, less pastel-y little rainbow scroll around here. And that's just a fun rainbow mode, doesn't really affect temperature at all. And you can just do it again, turn it off. Boop. Oh, the other little tip, when you are in a heat cycle, you can do a double tap and that will add 5 degrees and add a couple seconds to your cycle. And so now, the best part about these videos, let's take a rip. I'm gonna load up some of my favorite 710 material. This is another little fun accessory, is like a little electronic screw picker-upper or a jeweler claw or diamond picker-upper. I don't really know the official term for this, but it's great for terp pearls. Grab the terp pearl. I usually put the material in and then I will put the pearl on top. With these taco pearls, with the One Trick Pony cap, I have found it's better if the fins point to the right. With the Oculus cap, I have found it is better if the fins point to the left. That's, I do a lot of experimenting. Throw this cap on. For this live rosin, higher end stuff, I run it on green. Do two clicks. It'll pulse. And when it's done, give a little vibrate. While I'm waiting for it to heat up, one other thing with the backpack and the Q-tips is this thing always got to have Q-tips. You got to swab it after every one. You can't really let this go a whole bunch without swabbing it. And then when it vibrates and pulses, it's ready to go. Great flavor. Good hit. Not super dense when it's on green, but it's really worth it with this higher end stuff to get that flavor. Ooh, man, give that another run. Still some in there. Give it a sec to heat up again. And that's it. So after I'm done with each one, I just get my little handy dandy ISO jar, grab the pearl, dunk it in the ISO, let it sit in there for a sec, get my Q-tip, give a good swab out. Boom. Done. Puffco Proxy, 6-month update. Stay lifted.